Welcome back. I'm Mitch, and this is the final Exodus. This video today is for warriors, and not everyone can handle the information given, and most of you, maybe even all of you, have never been taught these things. So hang on. We're going to do this together. Light your candle. Dress yourself for battle. The name of this video is called He Shall Wear Out the Saints. And in this meditation, we're going to take a look at the hard times ahead, and we're going to meditate on the things that are necessary to prepare for the hard times ahead. We've been talking a lot about seeing and hearing. And we've noticed that our friends have a hard time. A lot of friends, a lot of family have a hard time seeing and hearing, don't they? I mean, this is what we've all been noticing, right? Not everyone. I mean, there's a lot of us that are vibrating in harmony over the things that are happening on the earth and the spirit of the revelation. But as the times get difficult, the condition of each person is going to be revealed. The condition of the inner man. And we're going to be looking here, so I've given you this little thumbnail regarding how will we handle the days ahead. Let's just put that to the side as we meditate on these things together. But I want you to think about Israel as we go through this. So let's go back to Israel and recall what happened to them in their Exodus. So the Lord was hearing their cry, and he was answering them with terrifying judgments on the Egyptians. And they were things like, they were plagues, they were days of darkness. He turned the rivers into blood. There were hailstorms. And it was extremely terrifying. And what interests us, I think, in reading the story is how Israel became terrified. And even after they were rescued by the blood of the Lamb over the doorposts, they came to more horrific situations. They came to the edge of a sea, and the Egyptian army was following them. And they believed that they were brought out there just to die. And they wanted to go back to Egypt. They met hard times where there was no food and where there was no water. And when there was bitter water, they trembled. So we watched the story unfold as Israel dealt with hard times. And it was very hard on them. So let's take a look here at the verse that we're going to be meditating on here today. Many of us have never looked at this verse in much depth. This one is Daniel 7:25 that says, "He shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. And they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of time." So what is this verse actually talking about? Well, I color things up to help us. The Antichrist, the satanic spirit in the Antichrist, is he who will speak great words against the Most High God, the Antichrist, will also wear out the saints of the Most High. He's going to wear out the saints? And he will think to change times and laws. And they, who is they? This is the saints. They are the saints. And they, the saints, shall be given into his hand. Oh, I see something I could change here. His hand, the Antichrist hand. And how long will this happen? Well, it will be for a time and times and the dividing of time, which is 3.5 years. We'll get more into this as we go. So let's stick with our notes so I could stay on topic. I'm introducing today a new series. It's called You Are My Witnesses. And this is the first video called He Shall Wear Out the Saints. The saints are the witnesses, and the witnesses are the saints. So let's just take a look real quick here at the word witnesses. Now think about Israel as I'm going through this. They were witnessing the power of God for their salvation through fierce and terrifying judgments. They were witnesses of these things. Isaiah 43:10 says, "You are my witnesses, saith the Lord, and my servant whom I have chosen, that you may know and believe and understand that I am He. Before me there was no God formed, neither shall there be after me." So the witnesses are to know and also believe and also understand that the Lord God is God, that Yahweh is God. Before him no God was formed, and neither shall there be a God formed after him. Those are the witnesses. Isaiah goes on to say in verse 12, so Isaiah 43:12 says, this is the Lord speaking, this is Yahweh speaking. He says, I have declared, I have saved, and I have shown you when there was no strange God among you. Therefore, you are my witnesses, saith Yahweh, that I am God. So he's declared, and he's saved, and he's shown. Has he shown you anything up to this point in your life? Certainly he has. Certainly he has. And that's going to be important for the days to come. Stay with me here as you meditate on this with me, and we do this together. So the new series, You Are My Witnesses, is going to be very important because the witnesses are the saints of the Most High. And the saints are going to be under great distress for 3.5 years, it says in Daniel 7:25. So let's go take a look at Daniel 7:25 and just get a little closer understanding of what that verse is saying. So the he in this verse is spoken of in the context of Daniel chapter 7 as the Antichrist, the ruler of this world. He's actually Satan in human form. And he is going to speak against the Most High God. And he shall wear out the saints of the Most High. So let's go look at this word, wear out. This is the word, wear out. Bala, and it comes from the Hebrew Strong's Concordance 1086. So let's go look at 1086. It means to fail, to wear out, to decay, to consume or spend, to become wax, to make wax. What does that mean? It actually is another way of saying defeated, to be defeated, that the adversary will consume the saints. Have you ever been shown this in the scriptures? But wait, let's go back to the word here that is used in Daniel 7:25, because this is the root of it, to fail, to wear out. Hang with me, guys. Don't get lost here. Hang with me. When he says wear out, he's saying this word right here. And this word is used only in a mental sense. In a mental sense, to wear out. So when you think of something as wearing out, the first thing you think about is it becomes ragged, like a set of socks. It becomes worn out. I've often used gloves until they look like this, and these are worn out. Or a pair of shoes that I run in that I then allocate for cutting the grass become like this, worn out. Or like these jeans. But this isn't a good illustration because people who have worn out jeans really like them. Right? These would be the ones they sell in the store. But this word, worn out, has to do with a mental sense, an affliction emotionally, to become emotionally burnt out. So if you think about becoming worn out in these days, I mean, I've been giving this a lot of thought, haven't you? I feel like already things are getting harder as people are more in need. The world around me is coming to see me in the clinic, and they're more empty than ever. And they also are believing what the media is saying. And I'm having to work harder to bring them back to the truth path and to encourage people in the situations that they're finding themselves in. Soon they're going to be losing their job, but they've been challenged with losing their job because of not complying with mandates or not wanting to comply. It's very tiresome, isn't it? And we're burning hard. We're burning the candle at both ends. And you can feel like you're mentally exhausted. Have you been feeling a little bit more like that? If so, give me a little indication down in the comments that you can identify with the topic of this video. And you become sometimes a little despondent or just poured out like a drink offering. Right, guys? So that's what it's like to become worn out. It's a mental exhaustion. And I've been thinking about what's going on in the world and how this leads to the draining mentally of the saints of God, of the witnesses of God. I've been asking the Lord, how does the devil do it? I've been also asking him if Jesus would incur this kind of mental drain. What do you think about that? Do you wonder about that with me? I'm of the opinion that Jesus would not be worn out by the devil, that his thoughts, being the thoughts of God, would be very comforting and strengthening. Don't you think? So the question we have here is, does everybody get worn out at the same level? Or are there different levels of being worn out? I'm pretty sure that the Lord gives us an opportunity to remain strong as he is carrying out his judgment against Babylon and rescuing us. What do you think? So as I've been asking myself and the Lord, how does the devil do it? I've come up with this word focus. I really believe that you become like that which you gaze upon. So people who are watching the news and listening to the media and believing the lies are definitely in a state of fear. Another way I like to look at it is a focus. Rather than on the truth, it's on lies. And rather than it being on the creation, or the creator rather, it's on the creation. I believe the intention of our God is that we would put our eyes on him, and that when we look out the window and we see troubled times, we see the revelation of Jesus Christ. What do you think? But these times are going to reveal where people are at in their walk with God. So Daniel 12:1 says, at this time of these things, Michael will stand up, the great prince which stands for the children and thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble. We are about to enter a time of trouble. And the scriptures say right here in verse 1 of chapter 12 of Daniel that this time of trouble will be such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. So the time of trouble coming is going to be very unique, never seen on the earth before. It's going to make the judgments against Egypt look very small in comparison. The witnesses of Yahweh will emerge. Because Michael will stand up for the saints, for the children of God. Michael will stand up, and he will cast Satan to the earth for the final time. This is told of in Revelation chapter 12. So Daniel chapter 12 and Revelation chapter 12, same story. Pretty cool, huh? So when this happens, this will be a deliverance of the saints, of the witnesses. It says in Daniel 12:1, at that time, the saints, the witnesses, Yahweh's people, shall be delivered. Is that comforting? But what about the fact that we will be given into his hands, into the enemy's hands, and that we will be worn out? Let's go back and look at that again. He shall speak words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints, and the saints shall be given into his hand. What about that? Isn't that going to happen? You bet that is. We are all going to be given into his hand. And I wanted to get into Jeremiah chapter 15, where it says that even Jeremiah went into captivity. In other words, Jeremiah went through the same elements as the people, just as Moses went through the same elements as all the people. But they had different experiences, even though they went through the same you know what I'm saying? They went through the same events, but experienced it different in their heart because of their perception, because of their focus. So some here will go into captivity in the days to come. Look at Revelation chapter 13, verse 10 with me. That says, if anyone is destined for captivity, to captivity he goes. If anyone kills with the sword he shall be killed. Now listen to this, you guys. Listen to this. The last part of this verse is very peculiar. It says this: here is the perseverance and the faith of the saints, of the witnesses, of thy people. What does that mean? Here is the perseverance and the faith of the saints. What does that mean? Why would it say that after saying, if anyone is destined for captivity, to captivity he goes? Why would it say that? Here's the perseverance and the faith of the saints. Why would it say that? Do you know? Ponder that with me. These words are meant to comfort us. We aren't intended to go into captivity. That's what's happening to the world around us. The captives are being taken captive by the adversary, by the dark side, by the devil. They're being taken captive? Yes. And they're being marked for destruction. They sure are. But this isn't the destiny for us. And this is the perseverance and the faith that we are not destined for captivity. We're destined for an eternal hope, an eternal resting place, a heavenly hope, a land flowing with milk and honey. And we are about to embark in the final Exodus. What do you think? Are you enjoying this? Give me a thumbs up if you like it. I sure do enjoy it. I love doing this because I learn as much doing this as maybe you do listening to it. So our eyes need to be on the Creator and not the creation. We need to see spiritually. We need to see Him behind the work. We need to see the Lord's work in our life. And therefore, Psalm 46:10 says, "Cease striving and know that I am God. Be still. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth." And I really like the way this psalm starts in verse 1. Let's just look at this in context just a little bit, where it says in verse 1, "God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble." A very present help in trouble. In trouble. A time of trouble. There shall be a time of trouble. Here's the word trouble. Hebrews 68:69, tightness between a rock and a hard place. And it's the same word in Isaiah that he uses here in verse 1, a time of trouble, tightness. Hebrews Strong's 68:69. So isn't that interesting? Therefore, we will not fear, though the earth should change, and though the mountains slip into the heart of the sea, and though its waters roar and foam, though the mountains quake at its swelling pride, we shall not fear. Now, I don't know why these topics aren't really taught, because I think this is very encouraging. But you have to start with the idea that the adversary will speak words against the Most High, which I think that's amazing in itself, and that he will also wear out the saints of the Most High. I think you have to kind of get past that to hear the good news. So everybody is going to experience these terrifying judgments on earth. The question is, how will we do? How will we fare as we go through that? Will we be worn out, or will we handle this like Jesus would? Again, I think it has to do with our focus. What is our focus? Is it faith? Is it truth? Now, hear this. This is interesting. I've come up with this in my life. You let me know what you think. But I believe faith for the future is based on faith from the past. In other words, when we go through hard times, we have the opportunity to put faith in God. Every hard time we have, we can transfer over the situation to faith. And I believe when we do that, we're exercising faith. But I believe that when we're young, we have small challenges compared to when we get older. I believe that challenges can become more difficult as we get older. We get adult-sized challenges. And if we haven't been practicing faith when we're young, it's going to be really hard to have faith when we're old. So faith for the future depends on how we've had faith in the past. Does that make sense? So often I'm just going to add this. I don't know if maybe you're tired of this meditation, but I want to add this. So my strategy for faith is to give until it hurts. This is what I say: love until it hurts. Put yourself into a state of deprivation for others so that it tests your faith. You can actually choose to walk through more difficult times by bearing the burdens of others. And as you bear their burdens with them, you need to reach out in faith for the strength that only the Lord supplies. So I don't wait until I'm spanked. I don't wait until hard times befall me. I try to give until it hurts. It's just a strategy of mine. It's just a thing. What do you think about that? Is that a good idea, maybe? Would you embrace that too? So giving until it hurts has helped me in growing my faith, so that when I have times of hunger, I will not fret. When I have sleeplessness, I will not fret. Now I want to tell you, I fail at this all the time. So just in case you think I'm being really pious, let me tell you, I reveal my true maturity every day. But it's still better than it was 5 or 10 years ago. So I like the direction. And that's what I'm working toward, is getting stronger in the Lord. So check this out with these last verses here. This is one of my favorite verses in the whole scripture, in Hebrews 4:2. It says, "For indeed we have had good news preached to us, just as they also. But the word they heard did not profit them, because it was not united by faith in those who heard." Now, what's this verse talking about? Well, this is Israel. So this verse in Hebrews chapter 4, verse 2, is talking about the good news. The good news? Yeah, the gospel. They had the gospel preached to them. They did? I thought that was the Old Testament. Yup. They had God's good news preached to them. The gospel of Jesus, the Christ. No, they didn't. Yes, they did. They did. They had the good news preached to them. Just as, so for indeed we have had the good news preached to us, just as they also. Do you guys see that? Just as they also. This is Israel, you guys. But the word Israel heard as a group, not everybody, but as a group, did not profit them. It didn't profit them? They saw the fierce and terrifying wonders of God, the judgments of God, but it didn't profit them because it was not united by faith in those who heard. It needs to be united by faith. So as we're going through these hard times, are we trusting Him? And I want to give you this last verse on witnesses that tells us not to fear. Check this out. I think you're going to find this really fascinating. In Isaiah 44:8 it says, "Fear ye not, neither be afraid. Have not I told thee from that time, and have declared it? You are even my witnesses. Is there a God beside me? Yea, There is no God. I know not any. What he's trying to say there is, what would you be afraid of? I am God. I am the Most High. So he says, fear not. I've told you. I've declared it. It is so. What do you think? Isn't that awesome? Oh, how comforting. Oh, so times are going to get tough. But we need to combine the truth with faith and trust him more. For such a time as this, blessings, guys. I'll see you soon.